Welcome to Small Talk with Kenya and Dawn. I'm Dawn.
And I'm Kenya.
So today we are going to begin a four-part series, and we are going to begin talking about toxic relationships. So the first topic that we're going to get on, which I'm really excited to talk about, is toxic friendships. So many times we see people that kind of gravitate towards one another in friendships. And those relationships are also toxic. And I think sometimes that they're toxic because of the things that we have going on inside of us. So what's your first thoughts when you think about a toxic friendship?
Not realizing it's a toxic
That's
friendship.
good. That's
and
good.
staying too long.
Yeah. I think because we kind of start to tie to one person or even a group of people, that you don't realize some of the conversations that take place inside of those friendships. And when you don't realize what's going on, you don't even realize, like what you said, that those relationships are toxic. Have you ever been in a toxic friendship before?
Well, yes, I'm gonna say yes, because even in that, as you were speaking, I was thinking about the actions that we do within those friendship groups. And when we're not called on those things or questioned about those things, that not just the behavior, but the continuous process of doing things that are outside of what we would categorize as a friendship. Because if I feel like this, years ago, I used to love the word friend. And my grandfather said, everybody's not your friend.
That's right.
But I thought everybody was my friend. But now fast forward to now, where I am now in the growth that I've made in my relationship with Christ, it's hard. But when I'm wrong, I need to be told that I'm wrong. When I see somebody moving in a direction that may be catastrophic to what their goal is, I have a responsibility. And I think that's how we end up staying too long in toxic relationships, because we don't want to tell people that they can do better in this area, or we don't even want to say that I was wrong, I'm sorry. You know, we just continuously let the behavior go on.
You know, you and I have come across some people, and when there's a toxic friendship that's there, to where someone has done something to the other person and tried to pass it off as no big deal. I really didn't mean anything by it. And it's caused issues in the relationship. And once those issues have taken root and they really start to grow, they also affect other people. And then you also hear how many times, oh, that's just that person.
Oof, too many times.
Hear it too many times because you've accepted that bad behavior.
Absolutely.
No one has corrected that bad behavior, and it moves on into other places. But just to so we can try to maybe even get some clarity on toxic.
Okay.
When I think of toxic, I'm thinking bad, no good. It stinks. The relationship just stinks. What do you think when you think about something toxic?
Affecting everybody around you.
Yeah. How it kind of grows. It's almost like a cancerous type of thing.
Well, I like the word that you said, it stinks. Because as that, it makes me think about Charlie Brown and Linus when he used to carry that blanket. And that little cloud of dirt used to just follow him around. And I think that's what happens. It starts to just spread. And even when one person just comes to the realization, like, look, no, this is just bad behavior. This is not normal. I don't have to accept this. Then it's a question not just about the person and their behavior. Now is questioning you. You know?
And what about, and I think we may have even just talked about it for just a second, but when you've carried, you know, it's like when that friendship has kind of run its course, and then you jump into the next friend group, and then the same things keep happening, but that toxic person won't take responsibility for the actions, and they're blaming it on everyone else. That comes also back to accountability, which we've talked about before. But when someone says, oh, you're a toxic person, you're a toxic person, it's not always necessarily that person all together, because what is your part that you're playing in that as well. Not to say that it's always going to be all on one person, or it's going to be all on the other person, but you've got to take some accountability also in the relationship, in the friendship. When you think about the word friend, I'm thinking of someone, not just someone that I know, or we're friendly. When I don't take the word friend lightly. When I'm thinking of friend, I'm thinking someone that I can trust, someone that I can, we have a confidence to where we can share things with one another, and it's not going to go anywhere between me and you per se, because we've had conversations before where those conversations, they don't leave the space that we're in. And that to me is a friendship, someone that I can call and depend on. Someone that I know that is going to be there with me through thick and thin. Even when you may have a disagreement about something, I'm thinking, okay, this is my friend, because they may have said, give me some tough love when you may have needed it, but ultimately, that's going to be my friend. A person that's in a toxic friendship, that's not going to be a person that you can rely on. You can rely on them to bring you a bone and carry one right on back to where they got it from.
And they're going to pick a few up on the way.
Exactly. Because it's like, and even in a toxic friendship, they're looking for you to do something that's wrong. They're looking for you to fail. What do you think? I feel like I've been talking. Lord, I had so much to get out this thing.
You know, as you were talking, I was thinking about this too, because a lot of things that I've seen is when people categorize you as a friend, they put their expectations on you. I feel like a friend, they respect the reality of the life we live in. If I don't call you every day, you're not sitting over there twiddling your thumb going, oh, well, what's going on with her? You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, as adults with children, grandchildren, work, spouses, it's a lot going on in the day-to-day. And sometimes you only have a little bit left to make it home to give it to them. I don't have time to sit on the phone like I did 20 years ago and just talk about nothing and run and do different things. But even from the other aspect, you have to understand and respect their relationship within their homes. And that's something that I saw a lot of, that when people say you're my friend, you put your expectations on me, not the reality of the expectations of the reality of the world that we live in. Because I may not have time to call you every day, but when I see you, we should be able to pick up where we left off.
Exactly.
You know, if you pick the phone up and call, that I'm there, but I just can't be the type of friend that I was 20 years ago when I didn't have the amount of responsibilities that I have right now. So I think understanding and respecting each other's own expectations.
I agree with that completely, because life moves on. And you don't really necessarily have the time to call someone back or to sit on the phone for a couple of hours and just talk about, you know, all kinds of stuff, reminisce and, you know, things that you want to do, because you have responsibilities. And that person may not have those types of responsibilities, so you can't expect them to move necessarily like what they did, you know, before. Also, when I'm thinking about toxic relationships, I don't know why it just keeps coming in my mind, but it is intentionally inflicting pain on someone. How many times have we seen that? And just passed it off like it was nothing, like no big deal. Why are you worried about that? That's small stuff. But to someone else,
it's big.
It's big stuff. It hurts. It really hurts. But then we give people excuses for things. Why are we giving people excuses for hurting us intentionally?
Because we keep wanting these people to be our friend instead of really looking at the reality of the relationship. If you are my friend, the hurt that I get from you should be the correction, not an intentional infliction for the benefit of the person that's inflicting the pain. And I think that's where we blur the lines and we categorize people as our friends. And you know, I've had some friends that for 25 years that I've called my sisters. We done fell out a couple of times, but there is not a time that they would call me and need me, and I'm not going to drop what I'm doing to be there. But if I'm just going about trying to hurt them, am I really their friend? Do I need to really? If I'm just trying to hurt you intentionally
Mm-hmm.
because that's just who I am.
Yeah.
Should I even bring that word out my mouth?
Mm-hmm. I can't even say that's a real friendship.
It's not. I think that's just somebody that's using somebody
Mm-hmm.
where they can use them when they need them
Mm-hmm.
or when it's beneficial to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's to me, it's the intent to hurt.
Right.
You know that you're doing things purposely to hurt someone.
Mm-hmm.
You want to inflict pain on
Right.
someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because when you want to inflict pain on someone, it's super early. But it's because you have your own mess that's going inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the old saying, what is in you is going to come out of you.
Yes.
So when you have ill intent, and for lack of a better word, chaos in your mind, in your heart, because those are connected together, you want to see someone else hurt.
Yeah.
You want to see someone else in pain. Like they say, misery loves company.
Yeah.
So it's easy to do to someone.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I absolutely agree. As you were saying that, so many things going through my mind. It just went through there. But it's such a cliche when I hear people say this. I'm just, oh, that's my friend, that's my ride or die, that's my this, that, or the other. But even in that, when you're talking about the chaos and what's in you gonna come out of you, somebody who is your friend really loves you. They care about everything that's gonna affect your life. So they should be trying to help you through those things.
Yes.
But if I'm looking for the punchline, to bring something or to inflict something upon you, I can't be your friend.
Yeah.
I'm just continuing in that cycle of adding to the toxic.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's just so twofold when people say that. Oh, that's my friend. But I mean, what did you even care that I was speaking reckless and you didn't even say you could say that a little bit better than that,
Yeah.
And that's the other part of a friendship. I should be able to bring correction to you, whether you agree with it or not, because we don't always agree with what people say.
Exactly.
And I mean that we're human. We all have our own opinion of things. But if I think this thing is going to hurt you and I'm bringing it to you, I'm only bringing it because I care about you.
Exactly. You should be able to accept it.
Right.
You should be able to accept it if you're that close. If you are true friends, you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
My best friend and I, we can duke it out, right? But we never stop loving each other.
Absolutely.
She'll correct me with some things. She'll be like, Dawn, now you know.
Yeah.
And I'll do the same thing. Girl, that was a little harsh.
Yeah.
But we know how to talk to each other.
Yeah.
You and I know how to talk to each other. But we come to each other in love, in Christ, and say, you know what? Because you done got me a couple times.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know it.
You didn't even know it. Because, like I said, we know how to talk to one another.
Okay. I got you.
And it's like, and I can accept it. Because I know that it's coming from a good place. And it'll make me turn around and say, you know what? Let me think about that for a second. And be like, ooh, maybe that was a little harsh.
Yeah.
Or you can it doesn't even necessarily always have to be what someone says, but you can see people's expressions on their faces.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
People always know what I'm thinking because I don't have a good poker face.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't have a good poker face. But you can look at someone's face and you can also take correction that way. But I think in a toxic friendship, everyone's not going to always be that receiving.
No.
And they're not going to want to have that correction. I think my question also is, why do we get in these things? Why do we stay in these relationships?
Lately, I mean...
And we're just talking friendships right now. Because we got a lot of other stuff that we're going to be covering. We got some stuff to talk about.
Lately, the Holy Spirit has been showing me that we come in with the right intent, And because we attach too quick, we start to accept. And we don't have to accept. And the thing is, if we move on from that friendship, we're thinking about the hurt that is going to cause that person. But we have to look and see, staying attached to this friendship, how is it going to hurt me? Because sometimes I can be, I can be a casual friend to you. I can do all those things. I can still help you, care about you, and all of that. But I don't have to let you into the I don't want to say the intimacy of, but really the intimacy of a friendship.
It is.
Because I know that you're going to hurt me. And I know this because not only have you shown me, but you've continuously shown me. So I think that's what we do. I think we just attach too soon, and we have the expectation that that person is going to really be our friend. And as they're showing us difference, that I can't be this kind of friend to you, we still want to hold on to them because we don't want to hurt their feelings, but we'll keep them there to hurt us.
Exactly. I'm going to tell you a story. Someone that I know is extremely close to me. Friends with someone for, best friends, probably 15 years.
Okay.
Close. Would always go and see that person because there was distance.
Okay.
And always went to see that person. That person never reciprocated to come and see them. And then would make assumptions about them.
Oh, wow.
Saying things that wasn't true. And I watched it play out until that person that is extremely close to me said, I've had enough. And started to realize some of the things that were going on and be like, you know what? You never come to visit me. You're saying things about me that aren't true. You make plans and you cancel at the last second.
Oh, wow.
Yet and still, you want me to be there for you, but you're not there for me. Even after a major surgery.
Oh, wow.
Still, you couldn't even come and see about me. You didn't come and check on me. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, wow. And as much as I even didn't want to admit it, that was a toxic relationship. And it was the expectation of, you're my friend, I'm your friend, but I'm giving and you're receiving, but you're not giving. But you have this expectation that everything that you do for me, you think I'm supposed to do it for you, and I'm not going to do that.
That's that expectation again.
That's the expectation.
We don't reciprocate anything. We just want,
and we're not willing to give.
Right.
We're not willing to give anything. And to me, that's a classic toxic relationship that's there. And even though it may have started out genuine, somehow it evolved into that level of toxicity. And it's like, what do we do now? What do we do? Do we continue to move like we're moving? Or do we say, you know what, we got to stop? The person that I know said, I'm done. I have to stop this. And I could see that it was very hurtful to them. But they had to put the brakes on and cut the cord.
And that's sometimes the hardest part, because you've grown to love this person.
Exactly. You've spent time together. You've shared things together. And you thought that what you were giving, that it was going to be matched. But I always tell people now, as this is something that I had to learn, was expect for that person, your expectation should be what that person has shown you.
Absolutely.
Don't expect them to do,
because you're their friend, they're going to change.
Because it doesn't work. People are who they are. And honestly, even with me, I feel like I give, but I don't receive everything that I give.
Oh, wow.
But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because whatever I do it from my heart. So I just have the expectation of people are going to be who they are.
Yeah.
And that's okay with me.
And that's a lot of less disappointment when you do it, when you look at it through those lenses.
It is. Yeah. And it could be a defense mechanism for me as well. I don't know. But I'm just going to do what I know that I'm capable of doing and give as much as I can.
Yeah.
Because ultimately I want to do the right thing.
Right.
But it also helps me to keep myself out of toxic relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I don't have the expectation. What do you think?
Yeah. Whew, that was a lot.
I know.
Because I have not had to, in a very long time, I have not had to kind of cut people off. But I have had to adjust my expectation of people, because as I grow, I pray that I stay here. I'm in this apologetic season of my life. And it feels so good, you know, and I'm seeking to learn different things. I'm seeking to see how I can be a better person. And I used to say this little cliche thing, I'm gonna be better today than I was yesterday. But they were just words and it sounded good. And one night we were praying and my son said, I hope I quote him correctly, I think he said, Lord, let me be 1% better tomorrow than I was today.
I like that.
And that kind of set in me. And I was like, oh wow. It just made me think about this apologetic or these apologetics that, you know, I've been on this trip where like, you know, it's okay to mess up.
Yeah.
But it feels so good to be able to say, I'm sorry. Now, we have to, this is the part that I struggle with. I have to understand that where I am, other people are not. And sometimes
there you go.
We want for other people what they're not ready to be.
Exactly.
And I know we kind of grow at different paces, but that's the other part of that friendship. Once we start to elevate and start to expand our thinking and doing things differently, we have to make sure we remember that they are not at the same pace that we are.
That's right. People grow at different times.
Right.
And they grow at different levels. Yeah. Sometimes somebody might be here and then they just catapult straight up. And then there's other ones that maybe they're just taking their time. Yeah. They're at a little snail pace. But you have to respect their pace. Right. And give them the grace that someone has given to you. I give grace that was given to me as well. Yeah. So it's all in just taking your time with things. Or, like I said, if you want to hurry up and get there, then, you know, fast track it. Do what you feel is best. But still, just stay in that grace period. Yeah. I think that's what's most important.
Absolutely.
So I like what we've touched on so far as this toxic friendship thing and just some of the stuff. But next week, we are going to get into toxic families. Okay. We're going to get into toxic family relationships.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so I'm really, really excited about that. So we are going to break here with part 1 of toxic relationships. Please go to our website, jordanchristiancenter.com. Look at the Sunday school lessons that we have there. Look into the other talks that we have. We have Man Talk, Women Talk. Please comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know when Small Talk with Kenya and Dawn premieres, which is every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. So until then, have a great day.